We're talking about Alec Baldwin on the set of Rust. He did talk about the shooting, and he made it very clear someone is responsible. I know it's not me.
He's such a tool.
He's such a massive tool. Oh, what happened, dude? Alec Baldwin used to be like amazing. He used to be the guy, the dude.
He started drinking his own pee.
Drinking his own piss, smelling his own farts, and here we are.
That's what happened. He got too many accolades of being too amazing, and he just totally bought into it.
What a massive tool. You hear that? You hear that? I know you're gonna see this.
No, he's not.
You're not. He's not gonna see this.
So yeah, so he sat down and he did this interview with George Stephanopoulos.
Dude, what's up with George? That guy's name. Why does it sound like
George Stephanopoulos?
Sounds like a character from Sesame Street.
Snuffleupagus.
George Snuffleupagus.
George Snuffleupagus. He was Reagan's media guy back in the day.
Was he really? Wasn't Reagan a Republican?
Yeah.
Is Snuffleupagus a Republican?
No. But at the time, it was a different time, right? You know.
Yeah.
And a job was a job.
Now Republicans and Democrats are like Bloods and Crips. Literally, oh my God. It's literally like the Bloods and the Crips. They can't work together. And when they see each other, they start firing Twitter tweets.
Start getting angry. Yeah, so he was basically doing it's an exclusive interview on ABC. The full thing, I guess, comes out next week. But basically, you know, he talks about how this movie Rust was going to be like it renewed his sense of appreciation. It was a project that he loved, and it made him like love making movies again. This is what, to me, it's like this is Alec Baldwin turning on the Alec Baldwin, you know?
Right.
It just it just felt disingenuous to some degree.
Yeah.
And so then he says,
go ahead.
You want me to go ahead and read it?
No, go ahead. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, you were just going to make fun of him some more, right?
Well, no, because I remember in the article, I was like, when you half read, I was half reading and I saw it was like, Baldwin was holding an antique Colt revolver. I'm like, why are they letting him hold a gun?
During the interview?
I thought like during the interview, he was holding a revolver while he was like reflecting. And I'm like, yo, this is dangerous. Get it away from him.
Well, apparently the morning of the incident, he had been reflecting.
Mm-hmm.
So he was saying, I was reflecting. He was sitting on a bench. This movie made him love movies again.
Oh God.
Apparently he didn't love movies before making this movie.
He thought every movie ever made.
He said, we thought we were really onto something. And then this gun goes off. This is the way he said it.
Oh God.
Hours after his moment of reflection, Baldwin was holding an antique Colt 45 revolver during a marking rehearsal for the film, when the prop gun discharged a live bullet, killing cinematographer Helena Hutchins and wounding director Joel Souza.
Wow, amazing on the names here, bro.
Thank you. He said, someone put a live bullet in a gun, a bullet that wasn't even supposed to be on the property. Someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't say who that is, but I know it's not me.
He said wildly, waving an antique rifle around.
He wasn't holding the rifle at the time. He wasn't holding the gun at the time of the
yeah, someone was responsible, but it wasn't me.
Yeah. So he said, I don't know what happened.
George, listen to me. Listen.
What?
Someone was responsible, George.
No.
But it wasn't me. And George's like, yeah, I believe you, man.
Hey,
I believe you, Alec.
These are getting too dangerous. He says, I don't know what happened on that set. You were a producer, but okay. I don't know how that bullet arrived in that gun. I don't know, Baldwin said, but I'm all for doing anything that will take us to a place where this is less likely to happen again. Well, I didn't hear him say where this will tell us exactly who's responsible for it, right? Just like less likely to happen again.
Right.
I have a feeling that as a producer, as an executive producer on the show, it's possible he may have some responsibility.
No, first off, He's more than just. Isn't he like part of the finance? Like this movie is like.
Oh, it's his movie.
Yeah,
I mean, it's 100%. He's at the top of the movie chain. He's not just a guy on a movie.
Yeah, that's like saying like, yeah, listen, I'm really sorry about that order, customer. But it wasn't my fault. It's actually my employee's fault. So don't be mad at me. You're like, yeah, right. That's not how it works.
Yeah,
you're in charge.
So he says the cast and the crew of Rust were working against the clock. The budget was approximately $7 million, and it accounted for just 21 days of filming at the famed Bonanza Ranch in Santa Fe, New Mexico. The film's producers were excited to have secured Hutchins. That's the one who died. She's a 41-year-old mother and a rising star in a notoriously competitive industry. Baldwin and Hutchins had never worked together before. Of course, he went on to say nice things about her. He loved working with her. She was a joy. Everyone loved her. She was a talent. On the day of the shooting, Baldwin said he and Hutchins met to discuss an upcoming scene. In it, Baldwin was playing a cornered and badly wounded character who would draw his weapon on two foes. During the rehearsal, Baldwin said the film's first assistant director, David Halls, handed him a revolver. Baldwin recalled Halls telling him, "This is a cold gun," which is industry jargon for a weapon that is either literally empty or loaded with non-firing dummy rounds. Now, what happened there and why he made that statement and what the realities were, I have no idea, Baldwin said.
Mm-hmm.
But Lisa Tarraco is a lawyer for Halls, has since said that checking the weapon was not his responsibility, and that expecting an assistant director to check a firearm is like telling the assistant director to check the camera angle or telling the assistant director to check sound or lighting, which is true. The assistant director does not do those things. Assistant director is kind of a gopher.
Yeah, but I don't care if you're the president of the United States. If you're holding the weapon, you should probably make sure you're not going to kill someone with it.
Right. Well, my guess is that someone handed it to Halls and said it was cold, and then Halls handed it to Baldwin. Right. Simply.
Yeah.
Now, is there a procedure where every person is supposed to check on the way through? I don't know. Maybe there should be.
I think maybe, but I tell you this, I don't care who hands me a gun. If I'm pointing that gun at somebody, I'm gonna check and make sure it's not loaded.
Well, I'll tell you this, Halls is definitely in trouble here because his lawyer would not confirm that he was even the person who handed Baldwin the gun.
Mm.
So there's definitely something cooking up there with Halls. So gun in hand, Baldwin said that he and Hutchins began blocking out the scene. So basically setting up what the shot was going to be. Right. She was directing his every move. He said everything is at her direction. Okay, so he's basically trying to reinforce the fact that this is not his fault. She's the one telling him where to put the gun.
Yeah, it's their fault, not my fault.
This was a marking rehearsal, Baldwin said, and Hutchins says to me, "Hold the gun lower, go to your right. Okay, right there. All right, do that. Now show it a bit lower," and she's getting me to position the gun. "She's guiding me through how she wants me to hold the gun for this angle," he said. "I'm holding the gun where she told me to hold it, which ended up being aimed right below her armpit." What happened next remains a mystery. It's the subject of intense public scrutiny and an investigation fronted by the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office. To get the shot, Baldwin said he needed to cock the gun, but not fire it. The trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger. I cocked the gun. I go, "Can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that?" Baldwin said. And then I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off. Okay, so he doesn't know how a revolver works. You know, when you pull back when you cock the gun and you let the hammer go, the hammer is what strikes the bullet.
The hammer is what
fires the same thing. Yeah, the hammer is what fires the weapon. So whether you pulled the trigger or not, if you let go of the hammer and it strikes the bullet, it's going to go off. I mean, granted, he didn't think that there was a bullet in it. So they're really focused on this. So he says, "So you never pulled the trigger," Stephanopoulos said. He says, No. Baldwin said, "I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them."
It doesn't matter because a revolver The trigger is just what releases the hammer that he pulled back.
Right. So maybe he never pulled the trigger, but he released. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Maybe he doesn't understand that. I don't know. Taraco Hall's attorney corroborated Baldwin's account on Thursday, saying Halls told her from day one that he was watching from 3 or 4 feet away, and the entire time Baldwin had his finger outside the trigger guard, parallel to the barrel, that Alec did not pull that trigger. So the guy who's like kind of in hot water over this is also saying he didn't pull the trigger. But if anyone knows how a gun works, then you don't have to pull the trigger if you release the hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've seen the Western movies where when they get it up there just to fire faster, they just go like this.
Yeah.
They're firing the hammer.
Right.
Okay. So after cocking and releasing the gun's hammer, Baldwin recalled that, first of all, everyone is horrified. They're shocked. It's loud. Hutchins goes down. I thought to myself, did she faint? He said, the notion that there was a live round in that gun did not dawn on me until about 45 minutes to an hour later. That's a long time.
Jesus, what did you do? You turn around and left?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. It says it here. Baldwin said accidental discharges of blanks or dummy rounds on film and television sets are common. It's true. In fact, crew members have since said that there had already been at least one accidental discharge on the Rust set just days before that fatal accident. So when Baldwin's gun discharged, he said it wasn't immediately clear to him or anyone else watching the scene that something terrible had happened. Baldwin said Halls telling him he was handling a cold gun added an additional layer of confusion because it meant the gun was supposed to be clear of live rounds. In the chaos that followed, Baldwin said he wondered whether Hutchins had been hit by an errant projectile from a malfunctioning gun like wadding, which packs gunpowder into the barrel, or perhaps even had a heart attack. No one could understand, he said. I mean, the blood wasn't giving it away?
Yeah, she was shot in the chest.
I mean, obviously, well, yeah, she was shot. Yeah. So Hutchins had been shot in the chest with a live bullet. Souza, a longtime friend and collaborator of Baldwin's, had been standing behind Hutchins when the discharge occurred and was hit with the same bullet. Baldwin said he stood over Hutchins for 60 seconds, kind of in shock, he said, before being told to leave the area. Baldwin said he and other crew members had their eyes glued to the emergency helicopter that arrived some 30 minutes later. So he didn't render aid? 60 seconds is a long time. I mean, you know how long 60 seconds is?
Yes. Yes, long time.
We can do it right now. We can see. Let's do 10 seconds. Ready? I mean, that's enough time to like recognize someone's been shot in the chest, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that doesn't sound good. He said that he then went to the sheriff's office. There he said officers showed him a photo of a lead bullet that had been removed from Souza. That's when officers told him Hutchins had died, he said. At the very end of my interview with the sheriff's department, they said to me, we regret to tell you that Hutchins didn't make it. Baldwin said, they told me right then and there. So that's his story. And I guess we're going to hear more about it next week when you actually get to see the live interview.
Yeah, can't wait for that.
I mean, the story's not over. I mean, ultimately, who had control of the gun is it's going to either be the armorer. It's probably going to be the armorer in the end, and somebody's going to have to explain how a live round got in there because
I'll tell you who's going to be, Shane.
Who?
The guy with the less money.
So the armorer. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. It's not going to be Alec. Not going to be the guy who can hire anybody and anything to do what he needs to do. It's going to be the guy who works for a living.
Well, and for somebody who, I was in the military, I worked with armorers. I was never an armorer myself, but I used to check weapons out. The armorer, checks the weapon before they hand it to someone. Mm-hmm. So in this situation, the armorer should have the weapon, maybe she hands the weapon to the AD and the AD gives it to Baldwin. But at that point, they should know where it is. It sounds to me like things were loosey-goosey on set, and that gun was floating around. And I don't know if somebody was playing with it. I heard rumors that there was target practice taking place with some of those guns. If there's target practice, then there's live rounds.
Right.
So it'll be very curious. We're going to be following this one. This is a sad, terrible story that's likely going to change the way the movie industry operates. I mean, we already know that The Rock, Dwayne Johnson has already said his production company will no longer use guns. That will be done in post-production from now on. It'll be rubber guns. So interesting.
Very interesting. All right. But for now, we're done with the story. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way down to the comment section to tell us what you think about Alec Baldwin.
Thanks for watching. To see the full conversation, become a member of the podcast family. Use the link in the description below or go to our channel and click the join button. Select your tier and we'll see you at the next show.